Every NFL season is chock full of incredible stories, underdogs, unexpected rookie sensations, even relationships that captivate a nation. Nothing, however, beats the comeback story. The NFL has even rewarded a comeback player of the year every year since Doug Flutie in 1998, plus 8 players in the NFL and AFL over 4 seasons in the mid-1960s. The 2023 winner was Joe Flacco, who at the age of 39 came in to rescue Cleveland after Deshaun Watson's season-ending injury and led the Browns to the playoffs with an incredible 5-game stretch where he completed 60% of his passes with 13 touchdowns. Critics wondered what Flacco was actually coming back from, which turned out to be losing his starting job several years prior. And after the season, added language that reads, "A player who has demonstrated resilience in the face of adversity by overcoming illness, physical injury, or other circumstances that led him to miss playing time the previous season." Quarterbacks have won Comeback Player of the Year every year since Andrew Luck in 2018, and besides a 4-year stretch from 2014 to 2017 that awarded Rob Gronkowski, Eric Berry, Jordy Nelson, and Keenan Allen, it goes back to Chad Pennington in 2008. Pennington and San Diego Chargers running back Paul Lowe are the only players to win it twice, and Pennington is the only player to win it for 2 different teams, the Jets in 2006 and the Dolphins in 2008. Some of the all-time great quarterbacks like Drew Brees in 2004, Tom Brady in 2009, and Peyton Manning in 2012 have won the CPOY. So let's start with one who hasn't, but is the odds-on favorite for 2024, Aaron Rodgers. No player was more hyped entering the 2023 season than Aaron Rodgers. After months, if not years, of drama surrounding his eventual departure from Green Bay to join the Jets, Rodgers was the very clear centerpiece of Hard Knocks and brought in a bunch of buddies to help him turn the ailing franchise around. So when Rodgers tore his Achilles tendon on the 4th play of the first game of the season, it was essentially the snap heard round the world. Rodgers, being Rodgers, managed to convince reporters he could come back before the end of the season, and reports showed he recovered remarkably fast. But Achilles injuries are rather serious, and Rodgers' debut season in New York was a wash. Sure, Aaron's now 40, but Brady played at a high level at that age, and since the injury, the Jets, especially the offense, have only improved, with Breece Hall getting healthy and former Charger Mike Williams joining the receiving corps. Of course, Aaron Rodgers was not the only quarterback to tear his Achilles in 2023, just the first. Kirk Cousins suffered the same injury in the 4th quarter of the Vikings' Week 8 game against the Packers. Kirk, who had become a fan favorite after starring in the inaugural quarterback series on Netflix, had completed 69.5% of his passes before the injury, the 3rd best over his career. Cousins entered the offseason a free agent and very quickly signed a huge new deal with the Falcons and has since completed his rehabilitation. Like Minnesota, Atlanta has a young wide receiver star in Drake London, plus an athletic first-round tight end in Kyle Pitts, and a pass-catching running back in Bijan Robinson. Cousins also has something he never had with the Vikings: competition. The Falcons drafted Michael Penix in the 1st round. Nick Chubb has been one of the NFL's best running backs since being drafted with the 35th pick in 2018. He was averaging a career-high 6.1 yards per carry before a gruesome knee injury in Game 2 against the Steelers. It was the same knee Chubb injured at Alabama in 2015, and with a torn MCL and ACL that would require multiple surgeries, some wondered if he would ever play football again. But heading into 2024 training camp, Chubb has posted videos squatting massive weight and running and cutting in drills without pads. Coach Kevin Stefanski has not made any indication of when Chubb will return to the field, but the return will be impressive whatever week it is. J.K. Dobbins was a star at Ohio State, where he never missed a game with an injury and became the first Buckeye in history to rush for more than 2,000 yards in a season. After being drafted 55th overall in 2020, Dobbins had an impressive rookie season with the Ravens, averaging 6 yards per carry and scoring 9 touchdowns in just 134 carries. But it's been tough going since. In 2021, Dobbins suffered a torn ACL in the final preseason game and missed the season. In 2022, he suffered another knee injury and only only played 7 games. And then in 2023, Dobbins tore his Achilles on his 8th carry in Week 1 and again missed the rest of the season. Now, JK has recovered and hoping to avoid the injury plague in his new surroundings as a member of the Chargers. Also new to Los Angeles is head coach Jim Harbaugh, who is promising the Bolts are going to lean on the run. Dobbins will compete for touches with fellow ex-Raven Gus Edwards, who has never averaged more than 5.3 yards per carry. A lot of football fans feel like Baker Mayfield should have won Comeback Player of the Year in 2023 for finally delivering a breakout season on his 4th team in his 7th season. So who is this year's Baker? The quarterback most likely to break through in fresh surroundings is certainly Sam Darnold. With rookie first-rounder J.J. McCarthy sidelined for the season with an injury, Darnold will lead the Vikings and throw to the league's best receiver, Justin Jefferson, as well as promising sophomore Jordan Addison and talented tight end T.J. Hawkinson. Darnold was the number 3 overall pick in 2018, but never put it together in 3 seasons with the Jets, much like the QBs before and after him. He then played 2 seasons in Carolina, again not exactly a team loaded with weapons, before signing a 1-year deal with the 49ers. In San Francisco's final game with Brock Purdy getting rest, Darnold was 16 of 26 for 189 yards and passing and rushing touchdowns. It was convincing enough for the Vikings. No player has ever won Comeback Player of the Year after playing just their rookie season. Anthony Richardson or Tank Dell could change that. Drafted 4th overall by the Colts, Richardson was completing nearly 60% of his passes and rushed for 3 touchdowns in his first 2 games before missing the 3rd with a concussion. In Week 4, he scored again on the ground and twice in the air. He then suffered an AC joint in Week 5 that kept him out the remainder of the season. But expectations are high in head coach Shane Steichen's 2nd year. After catching for more than 3,000 yards in 3 seasons at the University of Houston, Dell was drafted in the 3rd round by his home team. The Texans took the receiver on the suggestion of their rookie quarterback C.J. Stroud, who was impressed with Tank at the Combine. Dell developed instant chemistry with Stroud and was on an absolute roll before fracturing his fibula in Week 8 and missing the remainder of the season. Sure, the Texans have a lot of mouths to feed with the addition of Stephon Diggs and pass-catching back Joe Mixon alongside Alpha Nico Collins, but Dell could very easily lead that unit, and the Texans, as strange as it sounds, could have the best offense in the NFL. Only one tight end has won Comeback Player of the Year in NFL history, Rob Gronkowski in 2014. That season, coming back from ACL and MCL surgeries, Gronk caught 82 passes for 1,124 yards and 12 touchdowns in 15 games. Mark Andrews has never had more than 10 touchdowns, but his 2021 season featured 107 catches for 1,361 yards, better numbers than any Gronk season. In other words, Andrews is elite. He started 2023 inactive with a quad injury, and then in Week 11 suffered a cracked fibula and ankle ligament injury. Andrews was reportedly having a great training camp until he was involved in a car accident and missed several practices in the days following. The Ravens have said Andrews is fine and will be ready to go Week 1. Baltimore, led by one of the league's top quarterbacks in Lamar Jackson, will be in their 2nd season with offensive coordinator Todd Monken, who has described his scheme as a nightmare to defend. Andrews, 2nd-year receiver Zay Flowers, and new free agent signing Derrick Henry will be the keys to that. After Joey Bosa won Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2016 and his brother followed suit a few years later, it appeared the NFL had found its heirs to the Watt brothers' throne. However, in his 8 seasons with the Chargers, Joey has only played all 16 games 3 times. Bosa's only played 14 games total since 2021, dealing with groin and foot injuries. Bosa also suffered a hand injury in early August and missed most of camp, although the Bolts insist he will be ready for Week 1. A defensive end has not won Comeback Player of the Year since Greg Ellis in 2007. The Cowboys rusher had a career-high 12.5 sacks that season, which Bosa did his 2nd season in 2017. The Chargers have a new head coach in Jim Harbaugh, which could be help with a reset for Bosa. Joe Burrow threw for more than 9,000 yards in the 2021 and 2022 seasons with 69 touchdowns, establishing himself as one of the NFL's top signal callers. However, 2023 did not go as planned. The former Heisman winner at LSU suffered a calf strain early in training camp and missed all of preseason. After signing a new contract that made him the league's highest paid player, Burrow started relatively slow with the completion percentage just above his rookie season of 65.3%. Burrow peaked in Week 8, completing his first 19 passes in a big win over the 49ers. A few weeks later, though, Burrow tore a ligament in his right wrist and was placed on injured reserve the following day. The Bengals lost running back Joe Mixon to free agency, so could rely more on the pass in 2024. Since he retained T. Higgins, so assuming Jamar Chase's contract issue gets resolved, Burrow and the Bengals could get back to being one of the NFL's best offenses.